For some of us, the Lift Orlando journey started over 8 years ago with a 3-year research project titled Seeking the Welfare of the City, funded by the Senate Family Foundation. The purpose of this project was to evaluate local nonprofit work in Central Florida, to compare those organizations that were yielding great results with those who were still evolving, and compare that against a handful of best practices around the country. Now, at the end of the 3 years, the results were sort of good news, bad news. The good news is we have an amazing culture of service in our community with over 3,800 registered nonprofits and charities serving those in need in our city. The bad news was that in the same 3-year period, the Gallup Institute, which ranks 200 U.S. cities in overall well-being, had ranked Orlando increasingly towards the bottom of the list each of those same 3 years. Now, at the time, we had no language for identifying this conundrum, this contradiction of effort and dismal results. Until the book by the author Bob Lupton, longtime veteran of urban revitalization work, came out with the title Toxic Charity, describing how charities and nonprofits can often unintentionally do more harm than good when trying to serve those they want to help. It described how often we design programs and services around meeting a crisis in someone's life when often the problem that we're addressing is one of a chronic nature. The fact is, we saw it in our own community when we looked at the data. In fact, over 90% of our nonprofits and charities in town were focusing on crisis solutions, how to feed, clothe, house, help people in times of crisis, when the reality is a vast majority of our folks living in poverty were in long-term, entrenched, chronic poverty. And every time that you apply crisis solutions to chronic problems, you can predict that they will create dependency, deception, and disappointment over time. So for us, the lesson has been to ask a different type of question. With the help of Phil Hissom, founder of the Polis Institute, which resulted out of the work of that 3-year project to design solutions to social problems, we've evaluated the questions that help us rethink our efforts and our best intentions. For example, consider what is the long-term individual impact of an intervention, as opposed to only being interested in what the immediate outcome over the vast number of people you intend to serve. It will yield a result that puts you in the shoes of who you want to serve and give you a different perspective for what it's like to feel dignified at the receiving end of that